There are many different styles of flaring tools. They all pretty much do the same thing. It's a matter of picking the right size of tubing that we're doing. We're using 3/8 OD tubing today. So our tubing will be inserted into the appropriate hole, and then we will be clamping on the side lever and then actually making the flare for it itself. So if I loosen this one off, I can slide this all the way to the back and open up the jaws. Very important at this point here to make sure that you actually have deburred this. That one there is not deburred. On the 3/8 tubing, I like to use a loonie or a toonie to set the elevation and the height of my tubing as it goes through here. So right now I want to pull this down a little bit more. Bring that down just a tiny bit more. Happy with that? So now I'm going to slide the flaring section over top of my tubing, and I'm going to wind this lever in, and it's going to push a rod into one of these dimples. When you're doing this, it's not a race. If you go too fast, you can stretch the tubing and possibly rip it. Right now, I'm just listening for this ratcheting mechanism to disengage itself. So that's disengaged. Now I can loosen this one off. And you can see the inside of there. There's a bit of a lip on this one here. I still could have done a slightly better job on deburring that. What we're looking for though is that that surface there matches up with that one, and those two will be pulled together, and that will hold our for our gas test that we're putting onto here. If you have too much tubing sticking through here, like I say, a loonie seems to be a good depth to push it past. If you go too far though, you'll end up with a really large, wide flare on here. The problem with that is one, the flare nut won't go over the end of it, and two, you'll actually end up tearing it. It's not meant to be installed like that. It's roughly, like I say, the thickness of a loonie will be a good measurement on that one. I'll do one more for us. This is a little bit too high there, right? Now this one here is not a ratcheting style. So I'm just going to wind this one in until it's snug and will not go in any further. That one disengaged there. So again, those two surfaces there are now a nice match on there. One important thing to remember, if you're flaring a fitting, put the flare nut on before you bend the tubing. You will not get the flare nut to go around a bent corner. For our compression fittings, these are made up of the actual body of the fitting itself, a compression nut, and a compression ferrule. Be careful when you're installing these things. This one here is a 1/4 inch male iron pipe by 3/8 compression adapter. So on this one here, you would start by sliding on the compression nut and the ferrule. Now this adapter will go on and get tightened on. On these ones here, I prefer using box end wrenches. So if I grab a 9/16 for the center of it, and a 5/8. Try and do this so you can actually see what I'm doing here. If you look at the back of it, there shouldn't be any gaps or any of the tubing extruding out through the back of it. Sometimes if we end up with an over-tightened fitting, the compression ferrules will come out the back of them. One other thing to look at, because some of these fittings have been used, they're in different qualities. So this one here, I can actually feel that this top section here is mushroomed out a little bit. So that one there would allow your compression ferrule to slide all the way through it. But you can see how far the actual tubing goes in past our compression ferrule. It will spin and turn on there, but you should not be able to pull it off at this point. This does not require any Teflon tape or pipe dope to seal it. Neither do the flare fittings.